I'm Melissa Metzger with Zinks Meats and Fine Wines, coming to you with our weekly wine tasting video. So this week we are going to be featuring some beautiful, beautiful wines from Pralou and their sister label La Piche. So we'll start out with the winemaker a little bit. Julien Ferrard. He was first originally from France. He started making rosé in the Provence style with his family, and then he went to Bordeaux, where he got the great pleasure of working with Lafite Rothschild and Smith Hont Lafite. After that, he came to Napa Valley, where he was the district winemaker for Philippe Malka. And so then he finally ventured out into his own project. So with this, we are going to be seeing two different sides of his projects and ways that he likes to emphasize and create wine. So that being said, he's been trained by some of the best. So the first flight of wine that you will have an opportunity to have is the La Piche. So La Piche stands for, and it's an Indian word known for the golden eagle. And the reason they chose this is because there are golden eagles that fly over the vineyard every day. You can go out and see them flying, soaring, diving. They're hunters, so they're constantly in flight at the vineyard. And his goal was to make sure that each and every bottle stands up and is as beautiful as the eagles flying above. And so some of the wines we will be trying in that flight tomorrow is the Sauvignon Blanc, the Chardonnay, the Napa Valley Cabernet, and then in that flight we will also be featuring the Napa Valley Pralou. The Pralou is their baseline Pralou, their introductory, Cabernet. All right, then let's go to Pralou. So Pralou is a big old beautiful baby going on here, which references back to some of the other wines that we've been trying and the ones that we still have on the books to try. So Pralou actually stands for the edge of the forest or the outer lining areas. And so they named the winery this because they actually built their home base of their winery in Coombsville on the outer edge of this big, beautiful, huge forest. And so they did a play on words with that. They like to go back to the Native American culture and really try and respect that. And so they do that with the naming of their wines, both La Piche and Pralou. So again, their winery is in Coombsville, which is where the estate Napa Cab is grown, and that is the one you'll try in your first flight. The other ones I want to talk to you a little bit about are our Andy Beckstoffer vineyards. So just a little bit of background on Andy Beckstoffer. I could go on for hours and hours because there's tons of information about this wonderful pioneer of winemaking. So Andy Beckstoffer, years and years ago, started buying land. He started buying land, he started farming, he started cultivating and changing the way winemaking is done. He founded many organizations that control the price of the grapes based on the retail price of the bottle. He is in the Hall of Fame for winemaking and for wine growing. He spends most of his time now just growing grapes. He believes that the heart of the soil makes the heart of the wine. And as you will experience in each of these different varietals and other varietals, you will see that very much so comes true with his wines. There are many different wineries that source Andy Beckstoffer wines from their vineyards. So what he does is he has all these beautiful vineyards. He has the To Kalon, the Tussar, Las Piedras, George III, Missouri Hopper. And so from what he does is he leases rows of land. So he leases rows of grapes, and then he grows the grapes for those growers, and then at the end of the season he gives them their grapes, and the winemakers go and they do their own thing with the wine. So we have done, so far we've done Stewart this year. We are going to do Pralou. We're going to do Paul Hobbs, which is a whole nother big giant in the wine world, and Pinot, and then a couple others by the end of the season. So tomorrow we are going to be featuring a few of his wines. So we are going to be doing the Missouri Hopper. We are going to be doing the George III, the To Kalon Vineyard, and the Tussar Vineyard. So not everybody does all of his vineyards, and they don't necessarily do each winery doesn't do, let's say Teucer, for example. Teucer is not done by Stewart. Stewart does not use the Teucer vineyard. So it's kind of neat to try, but the best thing about it is to try each of the different winemakers and what they do with those vineyards. So each of the wines should be somewhat similar based on their terroir, but yet each of them should be different because each winemaker should be putting its own little spin on the wine. So each of those wines, this will be the second flight of wine. You are allowed to do both, which we recommend as always here at Zinks. Or you can of course pick and choose whatever you would like. So here's to a beautiful week and happy wine. Cheers.